p.m. And we invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Mark Robinson, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liz, could I please have a roll call?
Rice?
Here.
Wetzel?
Here.
Eschman?
Here.
George?
Here.
Hayden?
Here.
Robinson?
Here.
And Skornica is absent with notice.
Thank you. Next up is the approval of the minutes, and we do have 3 sets of minutes, and let's begin with the June 10th, 2019, please.
I do not know why I have approval of minutes before agenda, but
We'll go with it.
however you want to work with it. Sorry about that.
Fine. One and the same. And we will take these separately, please. So first up will be your June 10th.
I'm sorry.
A motion to approve the minutes?
No, I just looked at the, that's all. We have a motion for June 10th.
Make motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Alright. Motion by Councilman Eschman, supported by Councilman Wetzel. Do we have any questions, comments? All right, hearing none, can we have a vote, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Second up is the August 26th minutes, 2019. Those will also be again for the zoning board of appeals, August 26th. May I entertain a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 26th.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Batsu, supported by Councilman Hayden. Do you have any questions or comments on the August 26th? All right. Ready for a vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And item C will be our December 16th, 2019 minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Entertain a motion for that, please.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Support.
Motion by Councilman Robinson, supported by Councilman Eschman. Any questions or comments on the December 16th? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Item number 5 will be our agenda for this evening. That will be the February 10th, 2020 agenda. Entertain a motion on that, please.
Just a correction on the agenda. Under item A, public hearing held August 26, 2019.
Oh, thank you.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Hayden, supported by Councilman George to accept as amended. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Item 6 will be the unfinished business, and that is for Appeal 19-002, and that is for 186 Wall Street. If you would like to please step forward and share what you have with us.
Again, we're here because of a complaint, which is nobody stepped forward about the complaint. I've made some concessions, already agreed to, if you guys want to do it, which was sign a contract saying no harm to my fence, and moving the fence doors inside. Only other thing I can say is that I made phone calls to the office, asking questions about my backyard and fences, and I was directed to the ordinances online. I read all the rules, I followed the rules that I read, and the way my builder said, he did the same thing, so, over here. Pretty much all I got.
We appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening again. Is there anything else that we have? All right, then we can open that next for the board questions. There'll be any additional items that we have for you.
Question, did you or the contractor ever contact the building official or?
I called the office and asked twice. And I
But did you
explained-
speak with the building
I
official?
was told not to, I didn't have to, there's no permit required for me to talk to that person. If it was stated that I needed to in the ordinance, I would have to.
But I guess if you didn't understand, my question would be if you didn't understand the ordinance, but
But my question was answered about being what my front yard was and what my backyard was. And that was the way I understood it, and again, no permit required.
there's no hard copy on your side of who you talk to.
I mean, I have a hard copy of me making a phone call, and I think you guys admitted me as making that phone call. So, yeah, I don't.
Well, knowing that we have a building inspector on staff, that's something that somebody wasn't maybe 100% clear of. I guess I would have thought of going to him before I started putting spades in the ground. $2,000. How much was the?
Altogether with removal of the tree, like roughly like 10 grand.
Chris, can you explain to us, and I'm not targeting any specific call, a call comes in about an ordinance in general, what happens, like if it comes in the office?
So specifically for fences, screening, that kind of thing, we actually have copies right in the office. And I would generally just hand them to the person and they would say, do I need a permit? No, you don't need a permit. Now, for a side yard, I was completely unaware that there was a difference in 2018 or 2019, so.
And I'm just asking, like in general, no matter what
Yeah.
the permit is, if
No.
somebody comes in, what's the general procedure?
Yeah, if fencing specifically though, I would have said, no, you don't need a permit, just follow our ordinances. And, hand them a copy of the ordinance, so.
And so, somebody does come in and say, hey, I have more questions. So
And
they
then-
read it, take it home,
then-
come back in the office, then what happens?
Yeah, then we would direct them to the building official. And with the new village manager, I've been asked to direct all questions to the building official.
So unless somebody specifically asks, that's not a
Right.
routine,
Well-
is you would hand them a copy
Yes.
of the current
Well,
ordinance?
in sense, whenever somebody comes in and asks about a fence, now we're really specific. Is it a side yard? What zoning district is it in? That kind of thing. So, and then we try and direct everybody to the building official.
I'm just curious, like I said, what's
Yeah.
the general rule of procedure? I didn't even interrupt you, I
No, no,
just, you bounced
you're
my
fine.
question up here, is there anything else?
Yeah, Alex, I feel bad for you, but I still feel the recourse should be with the contractor on that, as far as getting some kind of corrective action.
I mean, he had the ordinances the same way I did,
I understand that, but I look at you as being more, I'll use the term as a layman, and I look at him as being the pro. And with $10,000 job, I still think that falls under, the weight falls on that contractor to make it right. And I don't blame you, I blame him, which is why I say your recourse, I feel, is to go after him. Is he a personal friend or anything?
I mean, he's a friend, and I know him pretty well, and
Yeah.
I like the work that he did, and the work he did was perfectly good, and it was
Yeah.
to the rules of the ordinances that we saw.
Okay.
Am I allowed to say anything? Guys, no? Okay. I had a question.
Are you, I guess.
I'm related to, this is my daughter.
We can backtrack when it's petitioner comments. Is there something you want to just say with him? Is that what you're
Yeah, I
saying?
guess, if I could. I'm asking permission.
That's up to the homeowner. We can
Absolutely.
quickly backtrack. We can't necessarily respond, but you're more than welcome to share something if you choose.
But it should be clear, this is not a time for you to question this board or the individuals on things that have occurred. This is an opportunity for you to present, not you, the petitioner, present their case for why they should be allowed a variance from the ordinance.
Well, can I speak then? I just got something to say.
It's up to the chair.
If you don't mind, would you just touch the microphone, please?
Sure.
Raise your hand.
All right, this is my daughter and my son-in-law, and I do have experience in Ortonville. I worked here for Ed Coy when we did the sidewalks back in 2008. Okay, and I owned that land since then. They built on it, and I deal with Bill, your inspector, all the time. And this fence thing seems like the language for different things in different areas is ambiguous and puts the homeowner in limbo. And this contractor obviously didn't read it. And maybe he didn't know what to look for. Maybe it should be like on a sheet, or maybe a permit should be required for a fence, so that the people that are putting the fence up know exactly what ordinances in different areas would be pertinent to that situation. So I don't think that the contractor or my son-in-law and my daughter-in-law should suffer for the fact that the language is ambiguous. The zoning is different everywhere, and they didn't know it. So why should they have to, shoulder the burden of having to redo it? That's the problem I'm having with this. I don't see what, you should be more specific. And, the guy's coming in for a fence, asking a question. You should have a sheet of paper that says, this is where you live, this is the law. The guy knows it. They start digging holes. The inspector looks out there and says, yep, that's the way it goes, and it's all over with. That didn't happen there. I mean, now we're here. We wouldn't even be here if that, that was the situation. Just type it out. I've been pouring concrete since 1968, and they got rules everywhere in all different kinds of cities. I've been turned down for different things, and I do what the inspector tells me to do, because that's what he told me to do. Nobody's trying to circumvent any laws over here, but for them to have to redo the fence, I'm having a hard time understanding this. I don't get it. Who's it bothering? We have to vote for a referendum, get the neighbors to okay it. I mean, that's what the village is, isn't it? A bunch of people. They got say in it. Why should they have to pay for it?
Well, they did have a chance to have the neighbors come in and support them, and they were able to do that a couple of days, so we do appreciate.
I didn't
hearing
see.
the
I tried to get the language today, but my computer's down. I'm not real computer savvy, but I can read if I had a sheet of paper. That's what I got to say.
Well, thank you, we appreciate
Thank
your
you.
input. All right, so we can continue with any board questions or comments.
I don't have, I've already asked all my questions in the past, so.
Did you finish? Couple thoughts, in talking with Bill a little more, asking some questions, us having a chance to review the zoning as well. We do agree that the language is difficult to read. We do know that the contractor knows that in each community there are different definitions of what a corner lot is. I looked some up online, and I can tell you they all have the definition in this location as Bill has requested. So there is no definition of a corner lot when you look up the ordinance for the fences. I think that is a concern, which we've noted and we know to continue to proceed with. And I wanted to make sure that it is on record that we are taking that into account. I know one thing that was not on our finding of fact was that it was a dimensional variance. It was not noted on there, so I did just want to make sure that's covered. And the homeowner did do their due diligence, and they made calls, and they did read the ordinances as they were available, and then the interpretation came from there. So I just want to add that in there. Anybody else have anything? Or Liz?
The findings of fact, are we on to that?
Well, no, I was gonna say now,
Okay.
we have the findings of fact that we have listed from from August 26th. We did also add to the list for a couple requests from the board on 12/16 as well. And so you'll have those listed in front of you.
Because we were on board with questions.
Right.
Not for discussion yet.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
But you have already made a finding of fact.
Right.
In this case,
Yep.
you shouldn't do that again.
Right.
Do we want to read them or no?
It depends on the board if they want to hear them again, but they have them before.
They are before them, yes.
So it's not necessary to read them to the record.
Unless there's any questions anybody had on that or any clarification they needed on any of those, I don't think
The
it's.
petitioner should have a seat.
We've had
Sure.
them twice in front of us, but I know we did have a couple in December, so I'll make sure everybody gets a chance to check them. All right, so now we are on to the decision on the appeal 19-002.
You want to make some discussion?
Well, we can, I was looking for,
I would suggest
I would have put it was
to
last
the council
December.
that you make someone make a motion to grant or deny, and then have a discussion based on that.
So is anybody interested in making any motion?
Dale, we can grant with a reduced, from what they said, like instead of allowing that all the way to the front, we can grant with like 10 foot as opposed to 4
You can,
Okay.
Does that come after?
no, right now.
I make a motion to grant variance with a requirement of only a 10-foot setback from the property line for the side street yard.
Do we have verification that that does not affect the well or the tree there?
According to findings of fact, the wall was 15-foot back,
Like
and I think the
approximately?
trees were in line with roughly the 20-foot point. So 10-foot back, they got anywhere between 10 and further if they need to adjust.
So
the slope.
5 foot to a well, for any well repairs, is that, that's what I'm looking at. It's about 15 feet, is that practical? I don't know, I'm just asking a question.
I'm just proposing 10 foot as being reasonable, because in the side street yard, that would at least make it a little more consistent with the rest of the front yard in that area, for that type of a fence on that, facing that street.
I support that motion.
Is that the only concession we have to on right now?
Yeah.
Well, how about that's a stockade type structure, and they're supposed to be dimensionally slatted. instead of a full stockade.
Well, if it was back in the 20 foot, it could be that 6 foot tall, fully obstructing stuff is, that's okay if it was set back 20 feet. But since it's within that setback, it would have to conform to no more than 4 foot impervious. But we're granting variance saying, okay, we'll reduce the setback from 20 foot to 10 foot is what I'm proposing. So if they move it back to the 10 foot point, they could still maintain that stockade.
Then how far would that be from the sidewalk, the edge of the sidewalk?
Based upon where that current fence is and the edge of the sidewalk, it would be 10 feet back. 10 feet back.
Motion on the table by Councilman Hayden, supported by Councilman Ashman. Let's would you mind reading that motion to us?
So there's a motion by Councilman Hayden to grant the variance request with the requirement of a 10-foot setback from the street side yard.
We have discussion and comment? Question?
Well, I have a discussion on that. Because the original was set up, is it because we're proposing something different now because it was already turned down twice before? Is that the way I found it?
We didn't reach a decision twice before. We did not approve or reject it from either previous.
We put it on the hold for until clarification.
So rather than rejecting the current, Councilman Hayden recommended an alternate to the 20-foot setback.
Okay, so to clarify, Mark, yes, there was a vote, and yes, it was turned down with tabling the decision until the full board was present because it was a tie. So, yes, just to clarify.
Okay.
But there is not anything currently, you decide what it would be, if you'd like to continue to bring the same thing forward, something new from there.
Wasn't the last vote a tie?
It was 3-3 to approve the variance with the addition of a hold harmless agreement.
So that is not technically a denial of.
Correct.
No.
And then that's when the
So no
discussion came
decision.
to ensure
Right.
that there was a full board for that, because it was a tie. That's what we're at.
So you've got, yeah, so to me, okay, there's I think a reasonable happy medium between either putting a motion out there that we approve the variance of 20 feet versus, versus 10 feet. So 10 feet is, okay, it may not be the best of both worlds, and it doesn't, apply to our current ordinance, and yeah, there's lessons learned, but I think Councilman Hayden did throw out an olive branch, so to speak, to say, okay, we won't go a full 20, but you know what, we side somewhat in the favor, but we also got to side in favor of the ordinances too, so therefore that being 10 feet. So, and that's why I supported it.
And I was keeping in mind the fact that well, you did mention you wanted to protect the well area somewhat, so 10 foot would still have the well within the fence area.
No, sir.
Was that?
It would expose my well.
Your well is, I thought, your well was 15.
I'm pretty sure it would, it's gonna be close. We would have to do exact measurements, but it'd be really close.
I thought the previous finding of fact.
We're pretty close, sir.
Oh, that's what it said.
Okay, then yes, it'd be what,
According to
five
the finding
feet?
of fact, it said well is approximately 15 foot back from the top. So
It
that's what
would
I
be
was-
5 feet, sir. There would be a 5-foot clearance then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I know that there are trees, if I recall, there are large trees right about that 20 foot. So that would be a characteristic of the property itself that would make it difficult to put it at like 20 foot. So rather than making it even further back, by making it 10 foot, I'm also allowing you to have, some reasonable backyard. I also did take note that your lot is,
The well.
it is a bit larger than lots to the immediate west and south, so you still will have a good sized backyard, even with a 10-foot setback. And, I understand the comments about the cost and stuff, but unfortunately, I will admit that it's not easy to understand the requirements around a fence in this particular circumstance with a side street guard, but we did find those definitions in there. It just took a little bit of searching around to find it and interpret it that way.
Can I say something? Can I speak?
Unfortunately, we are done with the comments, I'm sorry.
And I was just gonna say that it's like most cases with law, I mean, just because you don't understand the ordinance or understand what you're required to do does not remove you from the responsibility to comply with them. So it's unfortunate that they are ambiguous, but that doesn't mean that we can just then say, oh, well, because it was difficult to understand, we're gonna go ahead and let people do it.
Since we're still discussing, should we discuss also time limit, time frame at this time?
Of when they need to get it completed?
Sure.
I'd just like to make one comment, if I could, for council. You have a motion on the table. If you're going, discussion should be related to that motion and what it provides. It should not be the impact it may or may not have on the petitioner, or more rationale for how you get to where you are. You have a motion, and everybody's gonna make a decision as to why they got there. You have a finding of fact. Anything more that you add to that can add confusion to what we're talking about. And you have to understand that we are at the potential that this petitioner could take this and appeal it to another level, another court. The more you add to it, the more you confuse it, the more apt you are to be overturned. So my suggestion to you is you have a motion in support for a particular process. I think you're clear from what you've all said, you understand it. I suggest you vote on it.
So Mark Butz's question about adding a time frame, you could amend the motion if you wanted to add a time frame. Or you could amend the motion if you chose to include the whole harmless. So, I
Be moved
mean,
by such and such date.
wouldn't that be a continued discussion first, or would you vote?
You could do it either way. And it would be more appropriate at this point for you, if the person who made the motion, based on some of the conversations that occurred, thinks that it would be good to add that as an addition. I would suggest that there be a motion to amend that ruling to add that. And then you would vote on both the amendment and the original motion.
It wouldn't have to be the same person who made the motion to make the amendment.
Could be somebody else.
It wouldn't have to be, no.
I agree, I think it's a good idea, I'm just not sure what timeline Mark had in mind.
Well, according to what Dale said, you should vote on this and then make the amendment.
You can do it, you can make the amendment right now. You can
Motion
say
to amend.
that you move to amend it to say that it has to be completed by a certain date.
Well, with Liz's help here, the suggestion of 180 days for completion, which is per the time frame that we have. So within 180 days of, say tonight, the fence should be accomplished. Is there a motion? In that motion. Support.
So amended by Butz's, supported by George.
Liz, could we please read the motion?
So the amended motion by trustee Butzu, supported by George, would be to grant the variance requirement of 10-foot setback for side street yard with 180 days for completion, which is our typical permit, lifetime, yeah.
That's not part of the motion, the last
Right.
thing. It's just the.
Well, yeah.
That's
So
what-
you don't add, say more than is in the motion. The
Okay.
motion is simply to do that.
180 days.
Any questions, discussion on the amended motion? I just have to personally say, we have no research as to the impact of where that 10 feet would lie. In looking at the plans, I don't see where the well is. I personally am not comfortable with that, without having an exact measurement as to where that would lie. That's just my personal opinion. Anybody else? So, we have an amended motion on the table by Councilman Buxton, supported by Councilman George. And Liz, can we have you read it one more time?
Yes, so there's an amended motion to grant variance with requirement of 10-foot setback for street side yard with completion of 180 days from today. That would be August 8th.
All right. And, ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. And mathematically, Bryce, thank you. Motion carries 4-2. Item number 7 is new business. There
First,
is.
you still have on the table the original motion.
Oh, Larry's
You
original
have to-
motion. I'm sorry, I'm thinking original
So we
from
were
November.
voting on the amendment.
So we voted on
You
the
voted on
motion.
a motion to amend the
Thank you.
original, but now you vote on it as amended. You have the original
withdraw
motion,
the-
and there was the motion to amend it.
Draw, there was.
You now still have to
Yeah,
vote on the
technically
original
by
motion.
Robert's rules, that's correct. It's- You vote on the amendment to the motion, because then you vote on the amendment. Now, that's Robert's.
So, we have the original motion on the table by Councilman Hayden, supported by Councilman Ashman. All in favor? Oh, Liz, would you like to read it to us, please?
The original
The
motion.
original motion.
Was to grant variance with requirement of 10-foot setback for a street side yard.
All right. So, the original motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-2. Item number 7 will be the new business. We currently have none on the agenda. So item number 8, our last item of the evening will be the adjournment. And, any motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.